Hi, Redeemer family. I'm here with an exciting announcement. A few months ago, I asked you to pray because we were looking to hire more pastors, and I have another answer to your prayers. This is Curtis Field, and I want you to get to know him today. He's going to be a pastor, our family pastor, which is going to encompass a number of roles here, but it is something that I'm super excited about. When I think about what I hope our church is, what I hope our church is known for, I hope that we're known for preaching God's word. I hope that we're known for shepherding God's people. And then I really hope that we are known for being a church that cares about the family and everything that entails, starting with marriage, all the way to parenting, all the way to all of the ancillary things that come with having a family. And so I'm excited because Curtis has an incredible amount of experience in these things. And I just can't be more excited for all of you, not only to get to know him, but really be ministered by God through him. And so, Curtis, I'm excited. You're going to be starting here really soon. And so introduce yourself to me or to us, however we're going to pull this off. But,
Yeah.
You know.
Well, my name is Curtis Field. So some of you here already know me, but many of you probably don't. So I'm just super, super excited to be on staff here. I really am. It's a privilege. It's an honor. I don't take it lightly. And I'm excited about what God is doing here. I'm well aware of what he's been doing even before being brought on staff. This became our home church before being brought on staff. Yeah. And so to have the privilege of being brought on staff at my home church, our home church, where God is at work and doing wonderful things, to be with such a wonderful staff and body is, it's excited. To be excited is not putting it strongly enough. So I'm really happy to be here.
Praise God. And so I've known you for 10 years. I moved here almost 10 years ago and met you and Angela, your wife, because I was the Bible teacher for your daughters for many years. And so I got to interact with you then and still brought you on staff knowing that.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
It is amazing. And so tell me a little bit about how you were saved.
Yeah, well, first I have to say my daughters adore you. You are an awesome Bible teacher, and they really still have a deep affection for you. So thank you for ministering to them sincerely. As far as God's work in my life, I was born into a family that was at the time Mormon and just maybe making an exodus from Mormonism. We kind of were different things for a while. So we spent some time in the Presbyterian church. We spent time really not in church at all. I was sort of raised in Mormon beliefs, even though we had sort of left that church. And then I went to a Catholic high school. And I went to a Baptist university at Baylor. And so I was exposed to a lot of different things. And even at Baylor, being exposed to some heresy, the writers of the Bible didn't write the Bible, and on and on. And certainly, a lot of heresy in high school as well. So when I got saved, and I'll get to that in a second, I had a lot of sifting to do through what I believed. And there was a lot of things. I would go to a pastor that I knew, and I would ask him, hey, I can't find this in the Bible. So I'm a new Christian, and I'm asking him to help me find that. And he would say, oh, that's actually Mormonism. That's in the Book of Mormon. So I was discovering as I went that a lot of what I believed was not true. But the way God saved me was kind of out of the blue, honestly. So by the time I got into high school, I had sort of written off religion. I wasn't interested. We had kind of bounced around in different things. And my new religion became sports and partying, probably. And so that's kind of what I did through high school. And by the time I got to college, my one focus was partying. Even sports was kind of set by the wayside. And so I was really lost. And it's interesting with that kind of a path, that kind of a lifestyle. At first, it's kind of fun, but over time, it's miserable. But you continue to go back to it again and again. And so I hit a point where I actually took time off of, left Baylor, took a semester off, went home, and really hit a place where I was empty and I was lonely. I was kind of getting burned out from the inside out by my own sin. Wow. And I remember shortly before I was saved, having a conscious thought of saying to myself, I am done even pretending to live for anybody else or care about other people. Like, I am going to put myself first for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And God was too gracious in my life to leave me in that place, because I can only imagine the wreckage of my life if I had continued with that mindset. And so I had been partying one night, and everybody had left. I was at my sister's apartment by the beach, and I was on the couch about to pass out. And a couple of days before that moment, I had begun to feel sort of the overwhelming weight of my emptiness and the fruitlessness of life. And I think God was definitely at work in those moments. And so I actually was laying there that night, and I just, out of the blue, I hadn't prayed in years, hadn't thought about God, wasn't interested in God. And I found myself crying out to him. And through all the heresy and different things that I had learned, in that moment, the Spirit brought the one thing I needed to know, and that was the purity and the simplicity of the gospel. And so I prayed that, and I told God that I believed, and I put my faith and my trust in him. And I remember praying in that moment, I'm tired of living my life my way. God, will you take my life and do whatever you want with it? And so that is a radically different mindset from a couple of weeks or a few weeks before. And he did, he saved me. And so from then it was sort of this slow process of sifting through what I had believed and growing and just growing in my love for him. So
that's an amazing story. That's why I wanted everybody to hear it. And so you've been a pastor. You worked with a bunch of guys that we know and we love very well, very deeply.
Yeah.
And so you did that for 15 years. And so you bring a background to our church with counseling and care and building teams. And so just tell us briefly about that. What are some of the things that you've done in ministry before coming here?
Yeah, so when I was first brought on staff into vocational ministry, I was the care pastor as well as area pastor. So as an area pastor, I was given an area. It's more of a regional church, and so I was given an area to shepherd and to oversee. And so we did pretty much everything out there. So we did baptisms and weddings and men's groups and women's groups, and we did, we would do baptisms and pools, and we just did all kinds of stuff, building ministry teams. And so I did that for about 5 years, and then our church really began to plant more churches, and so brought area ministries to a close because there was about 5 areas that were being covered by pastors. Started planting churches, and at that time, they asked if I would continue to oversee care ministries, but also oversee biblical counseling. And so within biblical counseling, God was gracious. He brought really wonderful people that really, really loved him and really cared about other people. And so there was essentially 3 teams that I was overseeing. One was Exodus groups, which are really redemption groups, dealing with really serious wounds and addictions and struggles in people's lives. There was a counseling team, about 20 people or so, that were counseling people within the body, whether that was one-on-one or whether it was couple-to-couple, whatever that looked like. And then also, of course, care ministries.
Right.
And I did that for about 10 years.
Gotcha. And so during that time, you got a chance to really see the impact of sin on families in particular.
Yeah.
And that kind of grew in your heart a desire to help and to be a blessing and to give them the gospel. And so when you think about family ministry here and overseeing kids ministry, men's, women's, marriage, even growth groups, what are some of the things that excite you about those kinds of ministries?
Well, yeah, it's a great question. I mean, my deepest desire, overarching and the current that runs through everything I do is my hope that through whatever ministries God might have me overseeing, that he would use those ministries really as just a means and space for people to grow in their love for Christ. The more that they can love Christ, the more that they become like him, that'll impact every relationship they have. It'll impact who they are at work, who they are out, when they're just going around doing what they do on a day-to-day basis. And so that's my deepest desire. And those are certainly areas where you're able to connect women with women or men with men, or to really be able to focus on marriages or children. I mean, all of those growth groups, those are all ways for people to be able to know and love Jesus more and in a deeper way. And so my hope is more and more I'd be able to say, like Paul, I determined to know nothing when I was with you but Christ and Christ crucified, and that God would be gracious to use those environments to help other people to be able to grow in that same love for him. And I would say seeing so much through counseling, seeing so many people struggling and hurting, and oftentimes, whether it's wrong theology, whether it's not really understanding how to connect with and know and grow in their love for Christ, and to be able to lead people to Jesus, but and see the change in their lives as they would continue to grow in whatever relationships or whatever struggles they were having. All of the family pastor ministries are areas for people to be able to grow in grace.
Absolutely. And you've been a Bible teacher at Gilbert Christian, like I was, for a few years, and you got a bug there to teach. And so some of what you're going to be doing is actually expositing the scriptures, teaching the Bible in these ministries.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the blessings I had at Redemption was I was able to teach regularly, whether it was classes, whether it was in Exodus groups, and it really loved that. And then to be able to teach every day at Gilbert Christian was really a gift. And actually to really grow in learning how to teach younger people, I think is a very refining process in your teaching. So that was really helpful. So I love to teach. I'm excited to be able to have those opportunities here in the ministries that God has entrusted to me.
Right on. Well, I know I'm excited. I know our whole team is excited to have you on. Your reputation precedes you. And not only our team, but people in our congregation coming to me going, I can't believe that you're bringing him on. This is so fantastic. What an amazing team that you're building there at Redeemer. And so really excited and grateful that you're coming on our team.
Yeah. Well, as I said, to be able to be here with a staff that God has already assembled to join this team and to join this body it truly is a privilege. I mean, I could not be more thankful.
And you got connected to Redeemer like in your very first service, right?
Yes. Yeah, we did. It was really interesting. We had, through a lot of prayer and months, and counsel had made a decision, my wife and I, that God was really moving us somewhere else. And this was the place because I already knew Dale, we knew you, we knew what God was doing, we were excited from afar. And so we knew we wanted to come on a Sunday and see if this might be our church home. And it was really interesting. Two things happened. One is maybe about a third of the way through the service, I remember looking around at the body and just having this sort of overwhelming sense of a desire to love and care for the body. And I don't mean as a pastor, I just mean just being a part of the body and serving the Lord here. And just excited about that, really moved by that. And then toward the end of the service, it just really struck me that this was home. That was the thought I had. I was just sitting there. I thought, gosh, this is home. And so after the service, I told my wife, I said, hey, this is what I was thinking. And I explained to her, I was saying, this is home. And her eyes got really wide. And she says, seriously? She goes, that is exactly what I thought as well. And so God was gracious. He made it very easy and very clear. And he affirmed that this was going to be our home. So.
Yeah, I know. My heart leapt when you both told me that. I was like, I can't believe this. This is so amazing. God, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
you know, and it's a question I constantly have. God, what are you doing here? And so this is just amazing. And so
and for me too, I tend to be a person that's a little bit more thoughtful. I'll take my time. We'll continue to pray. So for that to happen, even for people that know me, they would say that's pretty unusual. And I just think the Spirit was definitely at work. So.
That's awesome. Well, I hope this has been enjoyable getting to know Curtis Field, one of our new pastors here. And I hope that you watching this, if you're here in Arizona, that you will come introduce yourself to Curtis and let him know how excited you are that he's on our staff. And so thanks for watching. See you next time.